Hi students, so I want to show you a little bit of how to do the PhysioEx Lab 1 as well as PhysioEx Lab 2 on this recording. I will probably make future recordings of other lab exercises as well. So first let's click over to our PhysioEx 9.1. and see if it will open up here. If not, I guess we can click that. Okay, so when you get here for Lab 1, it is doing Exercise 1, Activity 1. Now, I'm not going to be clicking on the overviews and the introductions and those types of things. I'm just going to show you how to do the experiment, but I definitely recommend reading through all of that before you jump right into the experiment. So Activity 1, like I said, there is the overview and the introduction and so on, but I'm just going to jump to the experiment to show you. So basically you're just going to follow step by step like it tells you, but I know there's some confusion on what to put into the data tables on your lab report. So that's my main focus here on what to show you. So I'm going to quickly get us to a point of recording data. So we drag the 20 molecular weight membrane there, and we hit next. We increase the sodium chloride concentration in the left beaker to 9, and then click dispense. Hit next. Then we do the deionized water, click dispense. Next. So this tells you kind of what's happening, and then you hit start to run. Okay, then you hit next, and then you hit record data, and this is what you need to be recording on your lab report. So on the data table under Activity 1, you have the chart 1, and what's already filled in for you is the solute and the membrane, and it's 20, and it's sodium chloride, and what you're recording is the average diffusion rate, and that is right here, this last column. So for this one, the answer is 0. There was no diffusion. And so for this activity, you just continue to follow the instructions as given, and then when you hit record data, you're going to go over to that chart and find the information and then fill it into the table on your lab report. So you have a couple zeros definitely on the chart, so don't worry about that, that's incorrect. It just means that diffusion did not occur, but you will have some values as well. Pretty low numbers though. There's a 0.015, there's a 0.0273, a 0.0094, and a 0.0042. So I'll just let you know those numbers. You don't know exactly where they go until you run the experiment, but if you're seeing those numbers, those are correct, and you just need to put them into the right place onto the chart. Okay, so let's now move on and look at Activity 2. So I'm going to go out of here. Not sure I want to do that. Okay, then we have to go back to PhysioEx. There might have been an easier way to do that, but back to Exercise 1 and now Activity 2. And again, I'm going to jump straight to the experiment just to show you. So again, it's you know, it's pretty straightforward, but I know just the numbers can get a bit confusing on what you're putting into the table. So here we're going to click Build Membrane, and then we're going to insert that over here. Oops, I jumped ahead. Okay, we already did that. Then we're going to increase the glucose concentration to 2, and we're going to click Dispense. Then we're going to do the deionized water. Click Dispense. Next. Again, it's telling you what's going to happen, and we click Start. Okay, next, and then record data. So again, same thing, you've got your table here, and in this case we only are looking at glucose. You had the 2 millimolar was the first one. The membrane was 500, or the glucose carrier value was 500. And so then you're just filling in the value there for that one. So that one should be the 0.0008. So again, just follow the steps, fill in the information there under the column of rate into your data table in your lab report. So let's jump over now and look at activity 3. I think this one was a little bit confusing. Okay, so again, just get this going so I can show you the data table. Sodium chloride to 5. Deionized water. Start. So for this one, the data table, I think they really should have put a column for the concentration, the millimolar concentration of sodium chloride, glucose, and albumin, and they did not. So what I did on my data tables, I wrote it right next to the sodium chloride or the glucose. So I knew, because on some of them, like the sodium chloride, they have you using 5 and then they have you using 10. So that way I could distinguish those values. Okay, next, record data. Okay, so now when you look at your chart, you have, again, your solutes already there for you. But like I mentioned, I did write that start concentration left. You see it there in the chart. I wrote it there next to sodium chloride on my lab report. So I wrote 5 millimolar. Then you have your membrane. We used the 20. That's the MWCO. Then you record your pressure left, and that's 170 there. And then you record the rate, the diffusion rate from the rate column, and that one was 0. So again, just follow step by step, doing what it says and filling in that information. So for the next one, they're going to have you do sodium chloride at the 10 concentration of 10, and your membrane is still 20, and so then you're just going to have a different value for your pressure. Your diffusion rate will still be 0. Then you're going to do sodium chloride again at 10, but with the 50 membrane, and so on. Okay, and then you've got glucose with a value of 8. So again, I wrote those right next to that solute, just so I knew what that starting concentration was, since some of them they had you doing a couple different ones. And then I just filled in the information onto the table. So hopefully that makes a little more sense. Now we're going to go over and look at Lab 2. oops, not lab 2, sorry, exercise 1, activity 4 is what we want here for lab 2. So again, I'm going to jump to the experiment, and again, just follow. So we're putting this here, increasing these all to 5 milligrams per milliliter, and clicking dispense. Then we're going to click start. Okay, and then we're going to click next, and we're going to click start analysis. Oh, sorry, we got to drag this over there first. Start analysis. Next, and again, record data. That's where you're always going to get your information. So on your lab, you have the filtration rate there, which is 1 for, trying to see here. Yep, okay, 1 for the membrane 20, that's what we used. And then you're going to go down and look at each one, the sodium chloride, the filter concentration is 0, residue is present, and actually it's the same for all of them. They're all 0 for filter concentration, and there's residue present. And then again, you follow it through. It's going to tell you then to do the same thing with the 50. I'll just jump ahead to show you. So you're going to change out your filter to the 50. You're going to do the same thing. You're going to filter those solutions. You're going to read your filter concentration values, and you're going to indicate those values as well as if there was any residue present, and then they're going to have you move up to the 200 and so on. So that should be pretty straightforward. And then you answer the questions. The muscle twitch, that's activity 1 in exercise 2. See if we can jump over to that one now. Okay. So this one, it first tells you to quick stimulate so you can see those initial values without any voltage. So you start off right away being able to record that. So 0 voltage, 0 active force. And of course, the latent period is already blocked out for you. And then you increase the voltage to 3 volts. And you click stimulate. And click next. And then you're going to click record data. Now you record that, your 3, your active force. Again, no latent period yet. Then the next one, so clear the tracings. Increase the voltage to 4. Click stimulate. I'm skipping the questions. Okay, measure. Now this is where it can be a little tricky. So what it's telling you is to move. When it says click measure and then you put the plus, you're moving that yellow line to right where you just have that little flat area of the graph. So right there, right before it starts to climb. Okay. Does it tell us anything else? Okay, then we hit record data. So then now you're going to have that latent period to be putting in there. Okay. And then you continue. It'll continue to tell you what to put in input to the